All right. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. We got a very special edition of Soul Speaks 5D. I'm McManus, beautiful, beloved, brave brothers. It's coming on to take us through what I think is going to be an incredible experience. And I think that will be setting the stage for many, many, many others to come out and tell their story and share their energy and their experience. Right now, I'm going to put on our little intro just to allow people time to come in, and because it's a special edition, an important um, broadcast, I'm going to share it to a few groups. And if these shows resonate with you, please do the same, especially on this special occasion. Uh, anyway, be right back. All right, how's it going, everybody? We've got a special show today with Al McManus, our beloved, brave, beautiful brother. I'm going to get him up here as quick as possible uh, and get started with this. These shows, this one in particular, is going to be very special. And if you have a second, could you please share to a page, your page, or maybe a group, or however else you could do that? Be a good share. I can promise you that. All right, let's get on up here. Let's give me a second. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room. Here we go. What's up, brother?
Oh,
How's it going? How's it going, my elemental friend?
well, this is huge. I've definitely been feeling it since making this booking. It's just been a couple weeks really preparing for this, and
Yeah.
the only thing I can really say is that when the divine timing hits, it's like you got to muster up that courage and just go for it.
Yeah. Well, we're all here holding space, right? I think you're going to do about 99.99% of the talking. I get the impression.
Yeah.
So I'll just let you lead into it as you want to.
So I'm going to word this and frame this in a way that someone who is just getting into and starting their inner work will be able to understand how what I'm going to share uh, is even possible, and how, and I'll bring up points to that will in some way help this individual or group of individuals um, begin to really unravel their own journey through these specific types of experiences. And so there are 5 points that will be woven into this in both the energy and also in the words. So those 5 points being human trafficking, pedophilia, satanic ritual abuse, uh, targeted bloodlines and targeted individuals. So that means that there are individuals or even entire bloodlines, entire families who have been targeted by, could we say, the people that seek to dominate everyone else, so that their bloodlines could dominate over everything. And so this will be going through ancestral lines dating back to at least Atlantean and Babylonian times. And the fifth point being that magic. We as humans are incredibly magical. And none of this, I would not be alive telling you any of this if magic did not exist. And so, with the first 4 points, this is all about bringing resolution, bringing in the codes that God has intrinsically encoded into each of these experiences. So once we had got to a point where, okay, we had done every single permutation possible in the mind of God to fully experience out those, well, and to some extent the magic aspects too, like what's it like not living life with being fully connected with their magic, or seeing magic, or experiencing magic in the way that it was originally created, and how magic has evolved with the addition of free will into the universal playing field. But basically it's like, this is the whole point of this, was to make it easy for people who have gone through this. So that's why I've gone through this deep of a journey, to make it easier for anyone who has gone through this to activate that God code within them that enables their soul to experience the healing and the moving forward into other experiences as they are ready to. But basically it just streamlines the whole process, and in turn enables these people to step into their magical abilities, whatever they may be, however it is that their own unique innate talents that would otherwise have manifested can now do so. So with all of that being said, I do want to call in every soul across the quantum cosmos who has been affected by these 5 points. And I call in all other souls, the souls that have been playing the part of the perpetrator in these experiences, to also come in and receive compassion and mercy and love and gratitude for just playing all these parts with us all in this grand soulscape experience that we are now ready to move on from. And most of all, the intention is also to help those perpetrator souls feel comfortable that they can gracefully move through their remorse process, so that they can come into healing in and of themselves and reconnect with their pure soul matrix. I'm also calling in all the angels, all the galactic beings, all the benevolent beings who have been helping me energetically work through all of this. I just want to really acknowledge these beings. I would not have been able to make it through this without the immense amount of love and support that these beings have provided. And I'm talking about both in physical human embodiment, and also in the unseen worlds. And I set this space as a sacred ceremonial space for the disbursement of the coding and energy that is coming through my body, coming through my words, and that it may be received in the heart and rekindle the heart fires the soul fires, the soul star, everything within us that interconnects our being within ourselves and with everything that has ever been created out of light and love. And that only clarity and truth comes through and that we all can remember and clearly hear, feel, see, taste, see, and smell and touch those parts of ourselves that are closest connected to God, closest connected to our own spark of the divine that resides within each and every one of us. So, my journey begins during the times of the fall of Atlantis. So this is following the fact that we are existing in a quantum reality where everything is that is possible. So everything happens, it does happen, and carries through and affects us even when like tens of thousands of years pass linearly. And so this really starts when Atlantis fell, and I came into the Atlantean time frame to just basically as like a bodyguard for someone who was capable of clearly embodying the Sacred Mother to help restore balance to the Atlantean civilization, as you know it was evident that they were going to blow themselves up, and and in the timelines that I have been clearing and that we have been clearing, we were unsuccessful in that mission, and so this embodiment of the Sacred Mother got killed, and that's one of the major factors that led to the sacred feminine falling out of balance within the planet Earth, within planet Earth, and so within me, I have the coding that is necessary to restore the sanctity. So basically, you could think of it like the gifts, the ability to resurrect someone who has died. And in many timelines, I was successful in resuscitating, reviving this embodiment of the Sacred Mother, and we at that point decided to leave Earth. And in other timelines, I was incapacitated. The whole team of bodyguards, as it were also incapacitated, and attempts were made to forcibly remove those gifts from our heart space. So the resurrection gifts and many other things that I really don't have the words for yet. It's relevant to at least mention it, and and they were not entirely successful in that, nor were they able to keep any of us in prison for very long. And I ended up committing suicide in a righteous way, so that no more of what I carry could possibly fall into the wrong hands. And at that point, even though my physical body was no longer functioning, it was like I was given a choice at that point. So my energy was returning to where all souls go when it's time for them to leave the earth plane. And that's when that's when God stepped in and asked me to come back, and was like, okay, so we have all this timeline contamination going on. You're the only one that has the coding effectively resolve this. And so I give you the choice, yes or no, if you want to stay on Earth and go through the journey necessary to correct all of this. So me trusting God and also recognizing that I did have a choice, I chose to come back and go through the journey that I did as a soul to correct the five major points that I've mentioned earlier. And so this is more, what's coming through next is more focusing on the bloodline, the lineage aspect of this journey, where it's like I chose to be born into families, not, not as a carte blanche sort of thing, yet the primary thread that I'm weaving along that line was born into families that would be targeted by the individuals that through Atlantis had a balance, and also into bloodlines that carried the codes of true sovereignty. So you may hear of like kings and queens ruling over a land, over a realm and whatnot. And the reason they're able to do that is that they hold the true sovereignty codes, and are able to effectively guide an entire nation into prosperity and into closer connection into what they get coming from God as directives to help that process along. And in these families, in these bloodlines, they were of course being targeted and taken out over the centuries, over the millennium, so that the uh okay, I'll just the destabilizers of Atlantis could effectively take everything over and usurp the rightful roles of these bloodlines. So this carried forward through to modern times, where my birth parents were both of the sovereign bloodlines, and so this is really where it's like all the other threads in there. So the other 4 points, it's like they're in terms of my soul's journey, it's like it's all interwoven in there in some way, in some fashion, um, yet really didn't come into prominence until this lifetime in this embodiment that I'm speaking to you through. And so the parents that I was born to were both of these ancient bloodlines that were being trafficked, that were being uh, destroyed because of the bloodlines that that we carry. And it's also just a certain unique soul signature that these two lineages coming together created, that they wanted to destroy because it represented a way to undo everything that they had done since they effectively took over um, this planet with the fall of Atlantis. So, and this is kind of hard for me to talk about because mainly it's like the only reason that I know all of this, besides just being an amazing, powerful being in and of myself, is that when it became apparent that, you know, all the PTSD that I was suffering and experiencing, all the emotional disturbances, et cetera, uh, could not be easily explained by just simply growing up in a dysfunctional family, and not and in a family I didn't feel connection with either. So um, I just began to dig deeper, and I began talking to my body more. And um, like Louise Hay really helped open that door for me in just talking with the body, talking to the organs, and finding out what's causing the distress when I feel like this intense pain or this intense emotional upheaval going on that had no apparent trigger. And so what I'm saying is that I don't have any physical evidence for what I'm going to say next as of yet. This is just going through my healing journey to get this information, get this feeling, and just keep whittling away at it. So like I interpret it like as I've been going through this, especially in earnest in the past 9 years. That's like, you know, certain things that come up and they clear, and then it's like a timeline collapse, and then like the next layer of truth comes up for whatever timeline I'm clearing at that point. And in the present moment right now, this is like the convergence focal point for everything that I needed to know and needed to do to navigate the journey, having come to completion now. Whatever details I'm not aware of, or whatever evidence that may exist somewhere, that will come later, and that's a different journey entirely in and of itself. So, so being born into the bloodlines that I was. My mother, an incredibly gifted seer, like she knew even before I was conceived that I would be a very powerful, very special child. That our time together will be very limited, and that at some point, and this is what she saw coming to fruition in these now moments, is that I would do something very special, very powerful to help this world heal and help these atrocities become healed. And so I got about 1 year with both of my parents. My mom was with me the entire time. My dad was kind of in and out because we were on the run, and so it's like our contact was brief, yet it was definitely quality time whenever he was around. And so it was just past, like a month past my first birthday. So um well, I'll get into that later because I'm jumping all over the place, so let's just keep with this thread. um that's when they found us. And my dad just happened to be present when they found us. They came in. He protected me. Like, he didn't make any move whatsoever to defend me with like a gun or anything like that. He was just like pleading for my life. And they shot him point blank in the head. And then I'm really not sure how much time passed or whatnot, but they took me to their from there, they took me to a ceremonial chamber. I strongly suspect that they didn't kill my mother, but she was sold into sex slavery, which my sense is that she's no longer in that sort of bondage, and she's receiving the care that she needs to recover. And so this is where like the existence of magic really truly comes in. Uh, Denise, I just want to apologize to you up front, but this is like relevant to the story, so we're going to talk about Harry Potter, even though you asked me not to. So if you've ever read those books and understand the storyline there, where Harry's mother did the exact same thing that my father did for me, and it was that love, it was the protection that that love, that sacrifice made it possible for me to survive being tortured to the point where adrenochrome would have been produced had they been successfully able to draw blood from me. They stabbed me right here in the back of my neck, and they didn't get a single drop of blood out of me, much to their astonishment. And no matter what they did to me, they could not do the type of harm necessary to draw blood. And this layer of protection that my father's death had given me had also made it impossible for them to be in my presence for more than a few hours. So at that point, with no other recourse, they couldn't kill me, they couldn't dispose of me. They put me into the CIA controlled aspects of the trafficking network, and the the woman that raised me, whom I'll refer to as my foster mother, she did has no idea about this, and she had no idea that her second husband was actually a double leading a double life. So, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to work," and he worked at this university apparently, but in actuality, he was going and doing like black ops stuff for the CIA in one of their underground military bases. And and he was chosen to have me come into their family mainly because their second child got killed in one of their experiments, and rather than do a cover up, they pretended that he had pneumonia. He took this child to the hospital and pretended he had pneumonia. They performed another ritual which altered my physical appearance so that I would more closely resemble the child that they had killed. And then I was placed into his and her care for a good majority of this life, although she divorced him a few years, oh, like 1 or 2 years after that. And then I ended up in Utah for the bulk of this lifetime. And so, and this is where that magical protection is coming into play, because there would be times when I would wake up and I'd have bruises or I'd have scratches that I just could not explain. And I also could not explain why I just didn't feel any connection with any of the family members that I grew up with. I mean, beyond just being told, "Oh yeah, they're your mother, they're your dad, they're your your brother and sister. You have to love them because they're family." And it's like, okay, I felt that for a while, but then it was just like as I became an adult and began doing my own things, it's like, yeah, there was no actual connection there that one would expect. Even if there was like dysfunction in the family, the connection just simply wasn't present. And I think that the portents really just started to come through my dream, that nothing dreams where nothing that seemed conventional in my life at that point. So I'm like, 18, 19 at this point. And and so that really just got my curiosity sparked. I mean, it's like I'm having these dreams, they're very intense, and it would take me hours to really just like um to really just ground and really get a bearing so I could just go about my day. and and so as I began digging and finding out more and more through listening to my body and working with the various energies and the various beings, it's like more and more became to open up until it was like I was going through massage school, so this is 9 years ago. I was going through massage school, and we were just starting lymphatic drainage. And if you ever had that type of massage, it's like you can touch your hand, you can touch your body anywhere with just enough to actually feel your finger. That's how live a touch that was. And someone, my classmate, began working up my neck like this with their hand with that light of touch, and it's like this floodgate opened, and it was like so much was coming through that, it really took me a while to really sort through it all, to understand that, okay, so some of this was soul memories reactivating with my experiences in Atlantis in various timelines, and also what I directly experienced in this lifetime with the pedophilia and and being a targeted individual. And that was the other point that needs to be added here too. So I have been through the MK Ultra style mind control program, and I strongly suspect that was with the Project Monarch, whatever that actually means. That's just the words that came as I was looking more and more into that, and whatever that was supposed to be used for. It was like in that moment when my memory began to unlock and decode after that lymphatic drainage class. It was like I became aware that they had tried to implant like a sort of sleeper personality into me that could be reactivated by trigger words, things like that, and then I could potentially be used to go shoot up a place, or whatever it is that they wanted. And when I became aware of that, it was just like, oh, no, 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 I am not to be used in that way. I will not commit harms. I will not commit atrocities. And to the point that would not set off triggers or alarms by the monitoring processes and devices. I destroyed that shit right then and there. And it's also through these monitoring devices and energies and spell work. There's uh, just another aspect of the magical influences here. Um, and as a child, that is how they were able to get to me. For like, they would abduct me and put me just into, like, trigger one of these implanted personalities, just uh go to like Hollywood parties and mingle with higher echelon types amongst the elite, quote unquote. And just they would just have their way with me. And then I come home, I would have no memory of it whatsoever. And part of that was the fact that they would also have technology that could wipe the memory of the mind, but they left the body memory intact because uh, if the trauma was wiped in that way, then all the stuff they did would just be for naught. It's like just wiping the slate clean. So my mental recollection wiped, body memory intact. I'm just going through this repeatedly up until around the age of like 14 or 15, when is really when it began to taper off. and I know nobody's judging me who's listening to this. I just want to acknowledge something as the next bit that I want to talk about, the fact that how fucking crazy this sounds. And the fact of the matter is that anybody that has gone through all of this will want to deny it. I mean, um, after those experiences with the lymphatic drainage class, I buried that shit again. Like, I did not want to face it. I did not want to like face the reality that all of this horrific, horrible stuff had happened. And this is before I even became like fully aware and conscious that I'd been transplanted into a different family and began to discover who my actual bloodlines and lineages actually are. And I just want to say to you that you are not crazy. You are you are to be held in such tender care because this is an absolutely horrible experience to have gone through. And even if we never speak face to face, just know that I believe you, and your comfort, your mercy is at hand. I feel I don't know that I have any more to say, so here we are.
Well, everybody believes you, and everybody's with you. I don't know. You can't see the comments, but
I will just say this: if you ever hear about, the children being liberated from underground military bases and um, other and other horrific things have been done to children, just know the actual truth is far more horrific than anything you may hear. And whenever it is that the full truth of this gets disseminated, I just hope that we can all come together to for one another, to be there for one another through that revelation. ơi ngồi này trên đời nói I have Red with me.
Yeah.
She's right here.
Hey, Red. Thank you, Om.
You precious children, I bless you with complete recovery from the horrors that you have endured. That you be shown the compassion and mercy that you need to fully heal and lead the life that you deserve to have, sharing your beautiful gifts and talents and everything that God has endowed you with as we move forward into a new world where all of this is healed and brought to light, where the remorse process is fully healed and fully complete, and that all of us beautiful souls, no matter what role you play, no matter how far or disconnected from your own inner divinity, your own soul that you may have gone or strayed from or become, that you be welcomed with open arms because you are beautiful souls too. Thank you everybody for holding space for me and listening and helping disseminate these codes that are flowing through me right now for all of our loved ones, all of our cared ones, all of those who've been oppressed and otherwise subverted through uh, all of these actions taken over the eons to suppress the human spirit, the true nature of what being human is all about. We were never meant to be slaves. We were never meant to be thrown out of our joy and our passions, and we were never meant to have our innocence shattered. Yet we did choose to have that experience, and this moment marks the completion of that journey. And we are set free to experience life as humans as divinely and sacredly intended. Oh,
So it is. And so it is. Thank you all.
thank you. And with that, I feel the ceremony drawing to a close. I feel the full flow of what I have unlocked within myself freely flowing throughout the grids, freely flowing to every single man, woman, and child on this planet, across the cosmos, in a quantum fashion.
I think if we just take a moment, just continue this silence just for a moment, and kind of bring everybody into this shared space. Just before we go. I feel a powerful lift. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you all. And
Thank
if you, yeah, you're very welcome. And if you, on a moment's notice, you want to jump on and do it again or whatever you want to do, I'm always here. Okay.
Thank you. I love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Bye, Red. See you later too.
Mm-hmm.